you hear me? All right. It's warm in here, isn't it? Hope everyone's doing okay. Well, raise your hand if you're in education. What was the one? All right. Sounds good. So I hope next time you have those lecture series and they say, what did you learn from me this week? You can say, he talked something about education needs some disruption. So I think everyone can believe that we have our society and culture is changing, and we need to really figure out how to best educate kids K-12, and we could have a healthy discussion on how college should improve or change, but we'll leave that for another time or else I won't get invited back. So my name is Matt. I'm happy to be here. Here's what I want to cover today: background and vision of MyTech High and where we have gone and where we're headed. I want to talk about disruptive innovation, business strategies, how to execute, how we've done it, and then end with a couple slides on strategic questions that I'm still trying to figure out right now, and both on a professional and personal side. So again, I'm LDS. I love BYU. I'm really grateful for the institution that allows me to talk about my faith in God as well as my desire to run a great company. And so we'll end with a little slide on some personal questions that I invite you to join me in that conversation. Real quick, that's my family, a little picture there. I actually have two sons right now at BYU, so that's kind of fun. And this third son's on a mission. He'll be home in July and starts at BYU this fall. I'm a big BYU fan. And our daughter, who's a senior in high school, just got accepted. So I don't know, Steve, if there's many that have 4 kids at BYU at one time. So that'll be us this fall. But he covered some of that. I have teaching experience from kindergarten to college. Back in the day, I got a grant to bring this new thing called the internet into the classroom back in '97, when the internet hardly existed, if you can believe that. I then switched careers and joined Novell, as Steve said, to run online education for them and a business marketing role there. I've worked with U.S. Job Corps, which is a pretty cool organization. I've been dozens of startups and groups, some failures, some success. I love this line that I've had on here ever since I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years. In 2004, I sold a business to Donald Trump, and now he's the President of the United States. Isn't that cool? So I can tell you the story later. If you want to come upstairs, I'll share it. I've done a bunch of research on public schools and innovative education models, and in 2009, actually sitting in a chair, I think in this auditorium, as I was invited to participate in a business conference with Novell held here, MyTech High was born, of trying to find a way to connect kids with quality, personalized curriculum focused on technology and entrepreneurship. So I could see so many people talking about it. I wanted to go do something about helping kids become prepared for the next generation of opportunity. So the visions we set these very early, and we really haven't changed them. We believe that America was founded on innovation and entrepreneurship, and schools don't teach that much. They kind of teach a follow the instructions roadmap, which is not innovation and entrepreneurship. I believe every child learns differently, and parents are needed to be involved in a personalized education. And lastly, I really believe that a foundation in technology is essential to be successful in college, career, or life. You need to have some capability around technology to be successful in today's world. So this is kind of interesting. So again, I'll use the word personalized education. I won't go too deep in here. But for 100 years, our education model has done pretty well with serving the bulk of the population. We've always had kind of personalized ed for gifted and talented or the college. We've always had personalized ed for special ed and struggling people. But standardized education it worked well for most people. We're just finding that kind of range is shrinking. There's more and more students who need more and more personalized on the high end, more and more personalized on the lower end, and it's all of our cultural changes of, customizing your apps and your phones and your clothing, and everything is so personalized that education now kind of needs to move in that personalized direction, and that's kind of what we've done. So the disruptive innovation cycle that we've kind of gone through, Raise your hand if you know the names of either of those. Name one of them? Yeah, he's the big innovation guru of the world. And his kind of co-founder of the Clayton Christensen Institute for Innovation, who was over disruptive education, his name was Michael Horn. And a few years ago now, I emailed him a summary of what I was doing with My Tech High, and this was his reply. And I was like, I got to frame that. I mean, this is the world leader in disruptive innovation for education. Underneath the world leader for disruptive innovation, I thought, anyway, it was pretty cool. So I think we're on to something that's pretty innovative, and it's been pretty exciting. You should recognize some of these names. Sir Ken Robinson, one of the most watched TED Talks ever. Saul Kahn, that started Kahn Academy. It's all about building, creating, innovating. It's not about memorizing, testing, and getting a grade. Sir Robinson said, we're born artists, but we get educated out of creativity. I think it's brilliant. Most likely to succeed. It was a Sundance Film Festival in 2015. I hosted them to do several showings in Utah. One of their things is our current system was designed in 1893. Like literally. This model of how schools are set up today needs a little bit of change. Some people are trying. So I'm sure everyone recognizes some people on this page. Mark Zuckerberg. Let's start with the seal in the corner is the New Jersey School District symbol. Anyone know what he did about 5.5 years ago? Donated $100 million to the New Jersey School District. Says, you say it's about money, here's money, go make it fixed. They did a study 5 years ago, so this was just September of 2016 was the 5-year mark. They said 0 impact. Nothing changed. All right? He wrote a letter to his daughter. Anyone remember reading that online last fall sometime? Anyone? Wrote a big famous, remember what he said? He said, I'm going to donate 99% of my wealth to this nonprofit to help education. Roughly $45 billion. That's pretty cool. So hopefully something will happen around that. President Obama he tried some race to the top stuff. Oprah Winfrey has donated a bunch of money to schools. Who knows the guy in the middle? Come on. George Lucas, big Star Wars guy. When he sold Star Wars to Disney, bless his heart, I didn't know if that was the right decision, but he sold it. And he said, I'm donating $4 billion. Half of what he sold it for $8 billion to Disney. He said, I'm donating $4 billion to Edutopia to help disrupt and improve education. Not a ton has happened yet. I mean, it's interesting that we have so many big players, and Bill Gates, hundreds of millions of dollars over the years trying to innovate in K-12. There's so many resistors, so many resistant parties that just innovation has been pretty tough. But a lot of people are trying. Laurene Powell Jobs, who do you think her husband was? Steve Jobs. After she's the widow of Steve Jobs. And last fall, she gave $50 million to 5 schools who went through the XQ Super School project to rethink high school. So they're trying. We know who the guy on the left is. Raise your hand if you know the lady on the right. Oh, we have some hands. You must have watched C-SPAN or something, or the news. Who is it? Yeah, what's Betsy DeVos is how you say her name. What's her role? New U.S. Secretary of Education. Maybe it's hard to see down the bottom. She is getting railroaded in the press because she said something as dastardly as that. I'm in favor of charter schools, online school, virtual schools, blended learning, any combination thereof, and frankly, any combination or any kind of choice that hasn't yet been thought of. I subscribe to choice. So I'm in the minority, it seems, in the country, but at least she got voted in. So I'm a fan of choice. I believe it allows people to choose and gives competition to a structured system that needs it. But it's not without its detractors, and we cover that. Continuous innovation. BYU is familiar with these things, so I realize we need to continuously innovate as well. It's a continuous startup model. You always need to be looking out for what you can do each year, each day to do better. So let me share a couple of key strategy decisions. How many have started a business? Raise your hand. How many think they might? Okay. I want to share just a couple of things that helped me make the decision of where. So I know Ben from Bamboo HR. He's an amazing leader. About culture and all that stuff is great. I'm not that big. I'm not that culture guy. I went through these steps to say, you know what is it that I want a company to do, and then let's just go do it. And so that's worked for me, but everyone has their own different ways of doing things. Walmart. So I was thinking, maybe I want to start a nonprofit because I want to do good in education was my goal. And so I was watching a documentary on Walmart saying the executives wake up on Saturday morning scared to death that they're going to get beat by Target or Amazon. I was like, they're Walmart, and they're paranoid every Saturday. Like, I don't want to live like that, so I'm going to go nonprofit route and just, enjoy helping people. And then I realized when I went to the nonprofit route, they're asking and begging for people who are profitable to donate to them or grants or those kind of things. So then if they were all dependent on businesses who were paranoid. So I was like, okay, that's almost the same thing. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll do something in between. I'll create a for-profit company, but I want it to be around social entrepreneurship. I want to do good in the world while still being profitable. So hopefully you can make that decision for yourselves as well. Then I had a chance to have lunch with Josh Coates. Raise your hand if you know his name. More, come on. Oh, interesting. So Josh Coates, you want to shout him out? Who is he? Okay. And a fine neighbor he is, I'm sure. Anyone know what he does in business? In structure, anyone heard of that company? They launched Canvas out of BYU. Anyway, you should look him up. They just went public for about $700 million in IPO last fall. Anyway, I had a chance to meet with him, and everyone's talking about VC scale and sell companies, and I said, you know what, that's not really me. I want to do a business that does good in the world, makes a profit, and lets me live a life. And he said, well, you don't want to go VC scale and sell then. You want to do a lifestyle business. I said, is that okay? Can someone start a lifestyle business? And he's like, yeah, just most people do something in between. They start a lifestyle business, think that that's what they want, and then all of a sudden, a few years later, they get all big on themselves and say, oh, this should really be a VC scale and sell, and it's a hybrid, and that doesn't work very well. You either should, from the beginning, decide which one you want to do, and that really helped me. So I decided to go bootstrap lifestyle, and I've loved that choice ever since. And I've had lots of opportunities to go the VC scale and sell route, and have said, nope, this is what I want. I want a business that does good in the world, makes a profit, and lets me enjoy my life. So you make your own decision on that, but I encourage you to make it a kind of a black and white decision on that, and then go for it, and go for the path that fits you best. Real quick, this is a story that was told during that time when I was evaluating that. The fishermen in the NBA, we're short on time. Let me just condense it real quick. An MBA was on vacation for his 1 week of the year he could actually take off. And he was on an island down in the Bahamas, and he saw this fisherman go out, hang around all morning, go out once a day and go fish and bring back a bunch of fish. And he said, dude, you've got it mastered. Let me help you. We can grow your enterprise into multiple boats and sell fish all around the world, and you can become really rich. And the fisherman said, why? And he said, so you can just relax on a beach and fish whenever you want. And he said, I'm already doing that, no thanks, right? And so that's always said, what is your why? I think that's a great question. This guy wanted to fish on the beach, and he had a great lifestyle. So if he made enough money that day from fishing that could support his family and other things he wanted to do, then good for him. Anyway, I thought that was helpful. Michael Porter, what I love, avoid the growth drug. We always want to say, let's grow, grow, grow. The essence of strategy is actually what you're not going to do. It's not what you are going to do. I really believe that a lot. Executing the strategy. So we identified 2 parts. One is manage a full-time distance ed program focused on tech and entrepreneurship. I'll explain why those two words are highlighted. You'll see at the end. Oh, you can see right there. We started a spin-out company called Tech Academy. That's for part 2, and that's around the technology and entrepreneurship for kids. But our main company, MyTech High, focuses on this micro-choice model. Remember DeVos saying any choice that hasn't been invented yet? That's what we're doing, is micro-choice. It's really a phenomenal opportunity, and I can go into details later. But we have a full-time program in Utah and Idaho, and other states are evaluating to come on board for this fall. Part 2 of our business is to simply sell these tech and entrepreneurship courses for kids around the world to anyone who just wants to private pay for them, in school, after school, or in a summer camp program. So those are available, and we have partners that are running those. So if any of you want to start a summer camp for kids, teaching them tech and entrepreneurship, we have the curriculum, spin it up, sell it, do it. Our business model is we contract with a school who gets all the funding from the state. They pay us a portion of that funding to operate the full-time program. So not only are we not asking for additional dollars, we're doing it for under what a normal school educates a child for. Much less than the child is educated in a regular setting, and that's fairly innovative, especially by Utah's standard, is number 51 in the country for funding per pupil. So if we can do it in Utah, we can do it anywhere, literally, because we're doing it under the per pupil spending in Utah. So anyway, I'll let that sink in for a minute. Here's our catalog of tech and entrepreneurship courses. You can see we build stuff that kids love around their electives. We still do math, English, history, science, and that's around our personalized core curriculum micro-choice model. But these are the ones they take for their electives, and lots of kids are loving building all kinds of cool stuff. This fall, we innovated, and we did how many have heard the term makerspace? It's actually an educational movement that's getting some research traction, actually, to be labeled as a pedagogy and education around makerspace. It's the idea that if you make stuff and try to sell it, or just make stuff, but we like to say make stuff and try to sell it, you'll learn more in that process than any book-based curriculum you could try. And so we started MyTech High Makerspace at Thanksgiving Point this past fall, and kids are loving it. They're building cool stuff, and this spring we hope to have them start selling some of their prototypes on Etsy or Amazon or whatever, just kind of pushing, build stuff and sell it. You'll learn more than almost any other way. Marketing, here's my one slide on marketing. This is what, after I worked for marketing for 7 years in Novell, I've done all kinds of marketing activities. This is the holy grail of all marketing. If you can be irresistible to a small group of passionate sneezers. You've got to find who your audience is that's passionate, and your product or service has to be irresistible to them, and then they'll sneeze your message to everybody else, and it'll spread. It worked here in Utah. We have not done any marketing except sneezing from 2009. You can see where we are in 2016. This little green line I like to throw on there, that's the next largest school program in Utah that does virtual education. So I'm pretty excited about that. And they're funded by a multi-billion-dollar company. So there you go. We have time for this, if I can show just a little inspirational video that hope touches your heartstrings.
Every big, cool, world-changing idea started the same way, with a spark. But how do you turn that little spark into something bigger, into something real? It takes imagination, creativity, and most of all, courage. You have to be brave enough to believe in yourself, to roll up your sleeves and dare to create something that wasn't there before. Once you've got that, all you need are the right skills to unleash your imagination and change the world. That's where Disruptive Academy comes in. We help you bring all those ideas and creative sparks to life. Do you dream of designing an epic video game? Directing an animated movie? Will you become the inventor of the ice cream making robot? Or the proud owner of a 3D printed skateboard store? Whatever it is you want to do, we'll provide a fun, hands-on learning experience with real people as mentors to help you make it happen. So you bring the courage, and we'll bring the courses. Together, we'll give your passions a purpose. Tech Trup Academy. Dare to create.
Does that inspire you to go do it? Go make a company. Make it happen. You can do it. Here's a 15-year-old in our program. Am I still back on? Olivia lives on a farm outside of Monticello. Anyone know where Monticello, Utah is? It's far away from here, isn't it? It's a long drive all the way around. And she made 30 grand in her first 6 months and is forecasting 80K this year in profits. Hypoallergenic poodles. She breeds them. Pretty cool. Oh, you can't see the bottom. She wrote me this summer to say her parents told her they had never made 30K in a year before after she made her first 30K in 6 months. And she emailed me and said, thanks, Matt, for giving me wings. So she's doing it. You guys can do it. Find something that someone will pay for. That's what business is. Don't make it much more complicated than that. Find out something that someone will pay for, serve them better than someone else will, and create sneezers. There's Business 101 in one sentence. All right, so what are the key questions that I'm pondering right now on the professional side? What's the right strategy? We now kind of have 3 different things. We have a MyTechHigh full-time program. We have TechTrup.com that sells a la carte courses. Outside of Utah, we're branding our full-time program TechTrup Academy. Now we're starting to get a little bit of confusion between those in social media and those kinds of things. So we're trying to figure that out. But again, don't expect you'll know all your answers on key questions instantly. Like it's an evolution. Start with trying to get your first dollar, serve that customer well, and then build from there. And that's my recommendation. But that's what we're kind of trying to decide on. On our course development strategy, we're trying to figure out what should we build next. Should we create more of a base of a foundation that more can be built upon? Or should we build some higher level, more advanced courses that specialize in certain things? We don't know. We're kind of trying to figure that out. We're researching other states and countries to see where a personalized education model would work best. There's some states that are open to it. There's other states that are completely against it. There's some countries that have most don't even realize what a personalized education means. And so, much of the world is still very standardized. I think America has this innovative attitude that it's all about me, which is good and bad, but it's personalized. And so trying to see if other countries have an appetite for non-standardized education is kind of an interesting research we're looking at. And how do we help people like Olivia and many more in our program, help them be successful? Steve has the same question here. When he helps students start businesses, what kind of resources, how can we help them so they'll be successful? It's not really an easy answer to define. And so we kind of say, how do we, we can connect them with mentors, we can tell them advice, but really, how do you help people start and launch their own businesses and support them along the way? All right, on a personal side, I want to share this because I realize, as Steve said, he invited us to consider, remember you're going to be a BYU and it's a special opportunity in the world, and it is. So I thought these are 2 questions I've been lately pondering. I was just listening to the October 2011 conference, as you can tell, so it was on my mind. But it's a great conference, and 2 of these talks stood out to me. Elder Robbins asked, in essence, what am I striving to become? Like, it's not what you do every day, it's what are your actions having you become? And I invite you to consider that. What is it that you want to become in life? Not what you want to do in life. We often say, what do you want to do when you grow up? And he says, as if what you do defines who you are. I think I listened to that actually this morning. That was the talk I listened to this morning. I try to listen to a general conference talk every morning at the gym, and that's the one I heard this morning, so I threw it in. I think it's a powerful question. And how what you're doing, striving to help you become, so it's part of your nature, your character, the very essence of who you are. And I think that's a really important question. So I invite you to consider that one. And then a few weeks ago, I listened to Elder Oaks's and he asked the question, what do I desire to become? So slightly different, but still in the same category of your desires inform your priorities, and then your priorities inform what choices you can make, and then those choices inform what actions you take. And then ultimately, so our desires that we act on determine our becoming. So know that your decisions every day inform who you are becoming. And evaluate those decisions and make sure that your decisions and priorities and actions and choices are aligned with the person you want to become. And I hope that helps you, because that's what I've currently been pondering on, are the things I choose to spend my time doing, helping me become who God wants me to become. And that's it. So we're a few minutes early even, but that's me. Connect with me, and I can take questions now if we have a few minutes before.
Like 5 minutes and handle a few questions, and then we will have the Q&A up at 7:10. So fire away. Go ahead and button whoever you want to.
Right here.
So there was a chart on a few slides back. What was the y-axis? It had years, and then your number was where you had the green line, you got up to 3,000 staff users.
That was full-time students. So if you think of a school, like a school with 3,000 students is a pretty big school. So that we're a school program with about 3,000 students.
This is my main complaint related to the educational system.
Okay.
How in the world a YouTube person could be able to teach better compared with somebody with a PhD on the website?
Ask the question again.
How people on YouTube can teach better than somebody with PhD in any university?
Okay, so your question is, how can a YouTube video host teach better something than a PhD can teach?
Yeah.
All right, I got lots of answers to that.
That question in your company?
Yes, actually, because, boy, that's a really loaded one, because I'm in a place that has lots of PhDs. Let me just say, I think even PhDs would say, expertise in content area does not mean you can teach it. A person up in education, you believe with me on that? Yes. Teaching is a skill unto itself. Great knowledge in an area does not equal good teaching. Okay, so that's part one. Part two, learning occurs when the learner is engaged, not when the expert is talking. So a PhD can share all the content in the world, but if the learner is not interested or is not engaged, learning will not happen. If they're watching a YouTube video that they're highly engaged, highly interested in knowing how to do that exact thing with their car or their bike or whatever, learning will occur. Thank you. I'll go back to the front row, because reward the front row.
What did you do before you started this MyTech High? And what kind of made you decide to go this route as far as starting Tech Academy and Trek Academy?
So maybe a little bit more details on my question is around my background. So I started in the classroom as a 6th grade school teacher up in Washington. I loved it up there. I got a grant to do the internet in the classroom. And then I got a job offer from a software company, Novell, to switch careers and run their online education program. So I moved my family. We were in Washington State, moved it to Provo, worked at Novell. After 13 years at Novell, I decided to merge my careers and create online education for kids focused on the tech industry and business and entrepreneurship. So I literally was sitting in a chair in a room like, I think this very room, when someone up on the panel, it was a computer science chair and a tech entrepreneur were on the stage. And the tech entrepreneur complained to BYU CS major. The dean says, "You're not teaching the skills I need in my company." And he said, "We never will. We don't do that." And he got frustrated. And the computer science chair said, "Go ask high schools. Maybe they'll do that for you, but we don't do that." And everyone laughed, because like high school are going to do that. And I laughed and said, "I can do that." And so that was, I said, I can do online education focused on teaching skills that will help them get a job and start a business And that was the birth of My Tech High.
How much capital did it take? I know you're bootstrapping it, but did you have some severance or some retirement or some cash out? What kind of cash flow to start?
That's a great question. I overlapped with Novell for 3 years. So that's how I did it. I went to my management team, and I encourage all of you, go get a really good, and this is also something no one says in VC world, so like it sounds blasphemous. Go get a job and then start a business on the side. Don't just go start a business, unless you can. But the idea was I had a really good job, really good, high-paying corporate job, but I said, what do I want to become? And I wanted to help kids start their own businesses around tech. And so I went to my management and said, as long as I do all of your stuff first, can I have freedom and flexibility of my time to do this education passion? And they said, sure. As long as you put your corporate job first, most companies will say, just give me your best, and then if you have time left over, go do it. But you have to have performed well, and I did. I performed really well for many years there, demonstrated I was professional and knew how to do it. Demonstrate your worth, and then negotiate time and flexibility. That's how it worked for me.
What was the business that you sold to Donald Trump?
You're going to laugh. TrumpUniversity.com. I started Trump University. No kidding. I spun it up I'll tell the story now then, so if you can't come up. I saw Donald Trump on The Apprentice in 2004 talking about, I'm the best educator in the world. And I said, he's going to start a university after himself. So I went home that day from the gym and went to domain and saw TrumpUniversity.com. Bought. And so I bought it, and then I thought, well, then they're going to sue me for trademark. And so I looked at all the trademark stuff, and I spun up a company online that said, come to me to learn how to trump your competition in business. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I can call that Trump University. And so I put together some business things in case someone called me that I would tell them how to trump their competition. And I just had it sitting there. And it literally was like 2 months later, I get a call and someone says, hello, this is Michael. I'm the president of Trump University, and I need you to stop and sell me your domain. And I was like, tough. And then he sent this big lawyer letter, and then I said, well, you know what? I'm actually an expert in online education. You might want to just chat with me. And he's like, no, you're just, blah, blah, blah. Finally, after several weeks, he said, okay, fine, I'll meet with you once. And so he flew me out to New York. I got to meet in Trump Tower. It was really cool. I didn't meet Donald Trump, but I met his people because I was just a nobody, right? And so they actually, I knew way more about online education and learning management system and curriculum and mentors and all the stuff that they were just starting on. So they paid a cash price for the URL, which is nice, and then a 3-year consulting gig with them, with high price consultant price. And so I helped them launch Trump University back in the day. And when we ran it, it was really ethical. Just wanted to say that. But then I left, and they just went all down here from there.